Wow, you weren't kidding. I gotta tell you, I thought you were full of it when you said you got us an interview from someone on the Death Star.
I don't normally encourage the idea of us, boarding military strongholds capable of destroying entire planets, but I was told this was a story that had to be told and recorded before it became lost to history.
Gee, that's awful charitable of Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, apparently he's been reading up on the philosophies of Nelson Mandela lately.
Hold it right there. State your purpose.
Oh, relax, Source, I got this. Pa! Ka! Hoo-ha-ha! Heck!
Authorization confirmed. Security clearance beta. Your escort is waiting for you down the hall on the left.
Done! Battle! Jubawa!
Right. Sure.
What did you say to him?
Oh, Tower Girl taught me a few Klingon phrases that are essentially skeleton keys to any alien race.
You do remember that Star Wars and Star Trek aren't in the same universe, right?
Yeah. I wonder what he thinks I said.
Whatever, it worked, so let's not look a gift bantha in the mouth.
Excuse me, I'm looking for... Wait. SurferClock? TAP-G?
Celebellarella? You work here now?
Oh, well, I actually intern at Oakins on the weekends. This is my regular gig.
That's friggin' awesome! What do you do? Build lasers? Fix the TIE fighters? Steam press Vader's cape?
Sanitation engineer.
Oh. But that's an important job too, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's cool seeing you guys again, but I'm kind of waiting on some interviewers, so...
Actually...
No way. Really? What are the odds?
Some mind-buggeringly big number, apparently.
Well, come on. This way. See, as a sanitation engineer, I have almost total access all over the station, including the detention cells. You wouldn't believe some of the prisoners they have held here. Like this guy. He was found rooting through the trash compactor.
Have you guys called Fry or Leela or the robot? I'm wasting away and here I am.
Oh, yeah. I heard they called a week ago. Said they had no record of you at Planet Express.
Oh.
This guy over here, blowing up a planet without a permit.
I only blew up Pandora because it obstructed my view of Krypton.
And this troublemaker, celebrating the forbidden ritual, Life Day.
I'm telling you, I'm 1/8 Wookiee on my grandpa's side. Now do I get my cat sandwich or not? Oh look, sirs, E.T.'s in here too.
What'd he do, jaywalking?
Drug trafficking.
Oh. Snitches. Get stitches.
But it's this guy in here who wants to talk to you. 626, you there? They're here.
Enter.
Stitch? Dude, what happened? Last we saw you, you were drowning your sorrows in pineapple juice.
Well, apparently he found something a lot stronger. He's totaled 4 different space cruisers by the time we brought him in. He's seriously depressed.
Why? What happened? Is it because of all those rumors about Wreck-It Ralph taking over his Stitch's Great Escape?
Not helping.
He says it's because of the launch bay.
The launch bay? What does that mean? What does that have to do with him?
Because it was once the magic of Disney animation. See...
Just do the abridged version. We've already covered most of the history in another episode.
Fine with me. Basically, it was a real studio when it opened in 1989. Mulan, Lilo and Stitch, and Brother Bear were all made there. It closed in 2004 when animation stopped being profitable.
So it was basically where Stitch was born.
Pretty much. And from 2004 to 2015, it served as a sideshow attraction about animation, featuring a drawing class, a short film about character development starring Mushu, and a character meet and greet spot. Its main function, though, was to plug the latest Pixar and Disney animation studio movies. It wasn't exactly a headliner, but it was a good side attraction.
Roz home.
But let's be honest, Disney's weakest demographic has always been male teenagers and young men. Only so much princess fairy tales and nostalgia-driven Disneyana can do for teen dudes who are probably more interested in comic books, sci-fi movies, and maybe that one girl on the cheer squad.
Or that one guy in social studies with the cute hair.
Specific, are we?
Just covering our bases.
Anyway, when Bob Iger took over in 2005, he actively sought to rectify that. In 2009, he negotiated with Marvel Comics to acquire the rights to their most famous characters.
Some details, restrictions, and otherwise nitty-gritty ipso factors apply.
And 3 years later, Disney made a similar move when they bought out Lucasfilms, acquiring the rights to Indiana Jones and Star Wars.
And Howard the Duck.
What? You gotta include all of Donald's family, no matter how estranged.
So once Disney got a hold of the rights to Star Wars, they set to work on making the most of it. Gone almost immediately were the days of hyperspace hoopla, Muppet Star Wars crossovers, Darth Vader Goofy in his boxers, and all Slave Leia merchandise. It was time for them to take it all seriously. More importantly, they sought out to beat George Lucas at his own game and make a Star Wars trilogy the fans would like.
Oh, as in more CGI, midichlorians, sand monologues, and lots more Jar Jar Binks?
You think you're funny, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Now, of course, Star Wars is a huge intellectual property that is sure to rival Universal's Wizarding World of Harry Potter. More than likely that's Disney's intent should Animal Kingdom's Pandora, World of Avatar, not work out. But one simulator ride in an annual event doesn't do it justice. So, Disney let the same marketing team that allowed Elsa to dominate retail stores
And Stitch to TP's Cinderella Castle.
and practically gave them carte blanche to promote Star Wars, especially with a new trilogy on the horizon. A third of the park, home to Streets of America and the Studio Backlot Tour, was shut down to be turned into Star Wars Land in 2015. The ABC Sound Studio is now the home to a Star Wars clip show called Path of the Jedi. 2 daytime shows perform in front of the Great Movie Ride daily, plus the nighttime fireworks show. Cast members at Disney's Hollywood Studios can now wear name tags claiming they are from various planets from the Star Wars universe. And the magic of Disney animation was overhauled into the Star Wars launch bay.
Oh, look, wow, that'd be enough to make me want to go on a pineapple juice bender.
The setup is virtually identical to what it was before. You can enter one of 2 ways, either straight into the building where the displays are housed, or you can go through the former backlot tour queue, which is now decorated in Star Wars art, where you wait for the show in the theater. And what is the show about?
Does it feature Mushu?
Nope. Instead, it's used to promote the new Star Wars movies, complete with interviews with the cast, crew, and even fans. It further solidifies the worldwide global phenomenon that is Star Wars and why it's endured over the decades.
But if Star Wars is so big and famous, why even bother having a recap of 6 movies over in Path of the Jedi?
Keep it up, TAP-G. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to throw you in lockup too.
For the rest of the building, it's mostly scale models, costumes, and props from the franchise, mostly the newer movies. The interior design is distinctly Star Wars, especially little touches like having the famous opening crawl on the carpeted hallway floor. The walls are gray and blue, trying to evoke the Death Star feeling. Then, down on the lower level, you can have a meet and greet with Chewbacca and Kylo Ren.
Another section, where the Incredibles used to do their meet and greet, is meant to look like the infamous Tatooine Cantina, full of little details like the glasses of blue milk on the counter. Also, the Jawas make occasional appearances for photo ops.
Do they still have the drawing class? I mean, it was the most popular thing there. They wouldn't just ditch it, would they? Maybe have people drawing BB-8 or Chewie or R2 or Vader or Naga.
No such luck, my scruffy-looking nerf herder. Not unlike what they did over at Innoventions, they made an interactive area for video games like Star Wars Angry Birds and Star Wars Disney Infinity. Because nothing says a long time ago for a galaxy far, far away than an abruptly discontinued video game.
At least it's not being used for convention space.
The last remaining stretch of hallways saved for the Star Wars art, and then the gift shop full of Star Wars memorabilia.
I don't think anyone needs more Star Wars toys.
You should buy more Star Wars stuff.
I should buy more Star Wars stuff.
Whoa, are you a Jedi? Or a Sith?
Nah, he's just incredibly suggestible.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am. Would you stop that, please?
TAP-G, why don't you start the discussion?
Why don't I start the discussion? Et tu, Brute?
Sorry, couldn't be helped.
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of this. I can honestly say that this is not something I would want to reserve time for when I go to Hollywood Studios.
I would see it once, but honestly, I kind of know why they made this, and really why they've made all the other Star Wars experiences too. Mm-hmm. This is, in general, just to tide people over until Star Wars Land opens.
Pretty much, and if it's nothing else, kind of a decent museum for Star Wars fans. It's really not for much of anybody else.
And if you kind of stretch your imagination, you can almost imagine it's like a Star Wars convention, but, without the 501st Legion, you can't really do much.
Or a whole bunch of people walking around in cosplay costumes.
Yeah, especially since Disney doesn't really allow that, but that's another subject entirely.
Yeah. For one thing, I think that probably the thing is the most insulting more than anything is the removal of the drawing class for the video games.
Yeah, there's something very there's something viscerally creative about, being able to actually draw something, learn how to do something. I mean, yeah, you can go through the tutorial on Disney Infinity. You can learn how to pick up a joystick or controller and play the game, but it's another thing entirely to be able to sit down to actually draw, and even though it's imperfect, it's still something very uniquely you. You also get a really neat souvenir with the drawing class.
It's also a very unique thing that can only be offered at a place like a theme park, rather than just a game that you can play on your iPhone, Android, or tablet at home, or like the clip show that could be played in Path of the Jedi, or the show that's shown in the theater that can be really seen anywhere that's YouTube or a DVD bonus feature.
I think what bothers me most about Launch Bay, this is something, there's nothing that makes this Disney. Other than the fact that Disney now owns Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's very, how do I put it? Risk averse. This is one of the least risky moves that the theme park ever could have chosen to make.
It's safe. It's lowest common denominator.
This is a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Why do they need more advertising?
Honestly, I think the only reason they even put this together was just so they could have something attractive and Star Wars-y for the fans while they're waiting for Star Wars Land to be built. I mean, it's kind of like a parent jingling their keys in front of their toddler while they're making dinner.
Yeah, and honestly, Disney has plenty of places where they can put meet and greet space. To their benefit, it is nice to have many of the Star Wars meet and greets all in one place. But yeah, it's nice to have all this front and center, but really, other than that, this kind of reminds me of what the AFI showcase used to be at the end of the Backlot tour, where you see the displays and the props and the costumes. Yeah, it's neat, but this is supposed to be a bookend for an attraction, not an attraction itself.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm trying to figure out is that when it was first announced that it was going out and that it was going to become the launch bay, I just thought it was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. Because why would you want to build something Star Wars themed on the opposite side of the park where the Star Wars ride was? And now it's obvious that it is a Star Wars attraction, and now once again they're building more Star Wars stuff on the other side of the park. What are they going to do with the building? I mean, I hope they have something like that in the new Star Wars Land, because having kind of a Star Wars museum about the history of the films and such is kind of nice. But what are they going to do with this building that was meant strictly to be an animation studio?
It's hard to say for sure what the future of this building will be if they decide not to keep Launch Bay in here. I mean, again, it's nice to have a centralized location for your character meet and greets, but you won't even really need it once Star Wars Land opens in full.
Especially since it's nestled between The Little Mermaid and Disney Junior Live on Stage.
Yeah, there is that.
It seems very disjointed. The Little Mermaid and Elena and Doc McStuffins. Star Wars with stormtroopers marching through the courtyard. It's really kind of jarring.
I suppose, but then again, it is all nicely animated, as it were. Forgive me the pun. But, overall, this is a museum. Museums can be done all over the world, and as a matter of fact, in Los Angeles, of all places, George Lucas is getting his own museum.
Yeah.
I know he really doesn't have much to do with Star Wars anymore, but, again, it kind of shows it's a lack of risk on Disney's part. This is going to succeed. It's going to be successful. Kids and teens and fans, they're going to love it. But it's so risk averse that it almost just stinks of,
focus groups.
Yes. Thank you. But yeah, I would say nice to visit, if it's your first time at, Disney's Hollywood Studios, definitely, check it out. But it's really not something that brings you back time and time again. To me, this is a 2 out of 5. I check it out once and done. Even if they do have sometimes switch out the characters.
For me, I've always been a big diehard of Disney animation overall, and animation will always have a very close place to my heart. So it kind of distresses me that it's just got turned into something Star Wars, like you said, for something that doesn't even need more money for advertising. I hope that it returns to its roots and celebrates animation once again. But the best I can say about it is, if you have a family member who's into Star Wars, they'll like this fine. It's kind of entertaining in its own right, but it doesn't really do nearly enough with it that it could be something special and unique for a Disney theme park. So ultimately, I have to give this a 2.5 out of 5.
Okay, so that's a 2.5 out of 5 from TAP-G and a 2 out of 5 from SurferClock.
The Star Wars launch bay has no restrictions, though you are required to explore the attraction in a certain direction, as per the requests of certain cast members there. Otherwise, it's open to everybody.
If you're a Star Wars fan, you'll enjoy it fine. It's almost like its own little convention or museum dedicated to fans of the franchise. It's a nice diversion while they finish working on Star Wars Land.
Take story, tell masses.
All right, we were supposed to be recording all that. TAP-G?
Me? My phone's data is almost used up. I thought we were going to use your phone.
Guys, I think we better go. I think they're looking for you.
Hey, you three.
Oh, Smoo, it's a stormtrooper and army helmet guy.
Boba Fett!
You're coming with us. Lord Vader wants to have a word with you.
Great, my cover's blown. I can't believe you guys came here alone.
Who said we came alone?
These individuals are under the protection of the United Federation and Star Command, so stand down. I am Groot. Ripley will meet you down the hall. We'll hold them off.
Come on. Thanks, Stitch. Good luck. Remember, we're What's the Attraction, and
May the Force be with you.